the stories of entrepreneurs and how they overcame the struggles and challenges to get where they are today. This is Believe in the Entrepreneur with Joel Sandoval, CPA.
What's going on? Welcome to another episode of Believe in the Entrepreneur, and I'm super excited because I have real estate investor expert Alex Mora in the house. Thanks for being on the show, Alex.
Hey, what's up, Joe? Thanks, man. Thanks for the invite. That's a nice intro, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we just changed it now. It's like it's a whole nother level right there.
Yeah, there you go. I like it. I like the energy
For sure. So, Alex, I've kind of seen you around on social media, and I'm sure other people like here locally in Kern County know you as well. But for those listeners that are not maybe from Kern County that want to get to know you, like, tell me a little bit about who Alex is. I know you're a big, real estate investor. So tell me a little bit about how you became that, your story.
Yeah, sure, man. So, born and raised in Bakersfield, California. Went to elementary, high school here, and we have a big family. So everyone pretty much went to college, and including myself, and that's pretty much kind of the head start. Going to college, being the first to actually go to university. I think I was the first. Either me or my cousin, but anyways.
Oh, nice.
I think I ended up being the first, graduating from a Cal State system.
There we go.
And then, from there on, pretty much, took an internship straight out of college and in the investment world. I was actually, my degree was in finance, business.
Okay.
And then with the concentration in finance, so. I was always intrigued by investments, stock market, retirements, that kind of stuff. Even accounting. I think at one point I was my degree was under accounting, and I changed it to finance. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I started really.
Mm-hmm.
The having an interest in those subjects kind of led me to where I'm at today. But I mean. So I started at straight out of college. I had an internship at Smith Barney,
okay.
At brokerage. We were there for about 8 months. Me and my buddy actually took the same internship with the same guy.
Oh, nice.
And so, after so long, I decided, I'm gonna go try something else. I don't know that I don't think I want to do this. So, after some decision making, I decided to go into real estate. I said, you know what? I want to do investments, but I want to do real estate investments. And that's how I got into real estate. I said, you know what? I can talk to people. I can talk to investors, but now it's real estate versus retirements and stock market stuff, So, that's pretty much how I got into the game. Eric, I think you had him here before. My brother,
yeah.
He was into real estate actually probably a year or two into it before I jumped into it. So, we had similar contacts and whatnot. So it was easy for me to transition into the real estate world.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, because the stock market is, even though they kind of have some similarities, real estate is still, it's a different industry. So like, was it your brother who's like, hey, leave the stock market world and come to real estate, or what made you make that shift?
Well, at the time it was 2006 when I graduated from Cal State Bakersfield. So, the market was hot.
Yeah.
Right. I think everyone knows about that time.
Yeah.
It was heating up. It was hot. I said, you know what, I'm gonna do real estate. And you see all the folks doing real estate, and you're like, wow, they're doing really well. But interestingly enough, I didn't know what part of the cycle the market was in, So I just went in there really not knowing much about how to sell a house. I knew investments, but how to show a property, and all the laws about real estate and all that. That was all new to me. So, but it's a people business,
right?
So I told myself, I'm going to be dealing probably with the same folks, but just real estate, different asset.
Gotcha.
So it was more of that. Eric was doing it too. So like I said, it was easier for me to jump in. So then after that, actually, interestingly enough, the market crashed, right?
Right.
The market crashed, and that was back in See, I got licensed in '07 as a real estate broker. I was never a real estate agent. Normally, nowadays you have to be 2 years. You got to have like 2 years experience, I think, and as a real estate salesperson before you get a broker's license. Before, you can just, as long as you have your 4-year degree, you just take some prerequisite classes and you can just pass the broker exam.
Right.
And boom, you're a real estate broker.
Wow.
So I went for that right away. I got it. Then pretty much, like I said, the market crashed. A lot of folks were leaving the business, and I was just learning the business. Right. So to me, it was no different. You know what I mean? I didn't know any better.
Right.
I didn't know what was going on, and eventually, you know, I saw what was going on. But you know, I learned the investment world. Actually, during the time was the best time to get into real estate as an investor.
Right.
Okay. So if you know, right, the market crashed, you buy at the bottom, right?
Right.
It was as bottom as you can get, you know? So, what I did is I ended up, you know, opening up my own brokerage about a year or two into the business.
Okay.
I was just a solo broker, just myself working out of my parents' house, actually.
Oh, wow.
And then eventually, got an office, you know, downtown in a small little unit, just like in this one we're here.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, you know, and, you know, I started to follow investors. I started to see what was going on, what they were doing. And I remember vividly one particular client, I was showing property. He was looking to buy a house for himself to move in. And we started seeing notices of default on people's doors, you know, and we were like, well, what is that?
Right.
You know, there's a default. What? There's a trustee sale auction coming up. Like, what is that? You know? And so I just became curious. Actually, the buyer himself was curious. He was like, let's go check it out. This one's going to auction. Let's go check out let's go to the auction and see what's going on over there. And really, that's how I got into real estate, into the investment world.
Wow.
You know, it really, I mean, that's what kind of where it started. But eventually started hanging out at the trustee auctions. Okay. And that was here off of Truxton. There's trustee auctions, you know, in every county across the nation. But during that time when the market crashed, all of the foreclosures were being sold first at the trustee sale auction before they even came back as, you know, real estate owned by the banks.
Oh, really?
Before REO, you know, you hear the term REO, or bank owned properties,
Right.
Well, every single before any property. Before any bank recovers their asset, it has to go through an auction first, the trustee auction.
Gotcha.
Okay. And so anyways, I started hanging out around there, and I started seeing what was going on. I'm like, wow, these guys are buying up properties like crazy.
Yeah.
You know, we're like, you know, they're spending $1 million a day.
Wow.
You know, buying property. And I was like, wow, they're carrying that much cash and cashier's checks.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be part of that. You know, I want some of that. So I got to know the guys are right there. You know, we're like-minded. We clicked, and eventually, one of the folks that were there, actually was a team out of Visalia. It seemed like they had their team. You know, they got their stuff together, and I said they actually were looking to grow their team, and I just happened to be there. You know, I was hanging out. I wasn't bidding. I didn't have money to bid. I was just trying to get to know who was who there. And I got to know everybody there eventually. I got to know everybody there. And when the opportunity came up, I raised my hand. Hey, dude, I'm right here. I'm a broker. How can I help you? You know, how can we work together? How can we do business together? Eventually, it grew into a partnership. We became partners. We opened up a brokerage here downtown in Bakersfield. And we built a brokerage around the trustee sale auctions. So it was all based around our properties that we bought, purchased, rehabbed, and resold. At that time, they were, like I said, they were growing their business. I think they were like in 2 or 3 counties. Like, it was Visalia, and Kern County, Tulare County, and Kern County. Eventually, when I joined their team, we expanded exponentially. Like, boom, we just blew up. We went to like 8 different counties. We went from we covered pretty much southern to central California.
Okay.
And also the Central Coast. So Yeah, man. I mean, I can go all day about that, but that's how I started. That's how I got into the investment world. With them, man, I ran strong. Probably, well, the trustee auctions ran strong probably for about a good 7-8 years.
Wow.
I mean, 100% of my business was trustee auction sales. So I was, as a broker, I would list all the property. I would list, they, after they fixed it, I would be the one to list the property. But besides that, also, I would help them buy the property on a daily basis, Monday through Friday. That's all I did, really. I was not so much focused on showing property or listing or open houses. It was all purely investments, trustee auctions.
Nice.
So that was a pretty awesome experience, man.
For sure.
I tell you that. A lot of folks hear about it, talk about it during that time, and I was the one. I was actually doing it, so it was a pretty cool experience, man.
Nice. So when the market dipped, back in 07, 08, so you obviously saw that. But did you capitalize on that opportunity, or were you still kind of too new to the game to capitalize on it?
So I capitalized, but I would say I capitalized with a lot of knowledge, man. I didn't have money. Remember, I was straight out of college.
Right.
I don't come from money, so I was like, wow, how are they finding money? That's a lot of money. I mean, we're buying up millions of property and millions worth in real estate a day.
Right.
And so I bought some property. I flipped some. It was probably, I didn't do as much as I'm doing today on my own. I mean, the team alone, we did I think I have my profile over 1,500, but
wow,
really probably ended up being over more like 2,500 properties that I mean, they're still doing it today. But it was we were doing volume, man, very, very high volume.
Gotcha.
I mean, at one point, I think we did like 300 in a year.
Right.
That was kind of like our average, 250 to 300 properties per year.
Wow.
Combined in all counties. So, kind of lost the question, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, you said you capitalize. Well, I thought it was key. Is you capitalize.
Okay. Yeah. So going back to that question, sorry, man, I kind of lost track. Yeah. So I, as far as investment wise, I was not the one buying every day. I was there as a broker and advising them on what to buy. So I analyzed a lot of properties. My job was to analyze a trustee auction list that was coming up for sale the next day. Okay, so the knowledge that I acquired just sourcing all these deals, I'm talking about hundreds of deals a day.
Wow.
In all the counties combined, right? I sat behind a computer just like the one you have here with multiple screens in front of me.
Yeah.
And I had, 5 windows up with Excel sheets, and we would just scrub the list down and spot opportunities in different counties.
Right.
So I gained all that knowledge. I mean, I can, with all that experience today has really helped me identify investment opportunities.
Right.
You see what I mean? So as far as capitalizing in profit wise and money, I didn't do much.
Gotcha.
During that time. I was still learning. I was building up really my reserves.
Right.
I was building them up my reserves. I did well for myself, but I didn't have the knowledge I do now with as far as raising capital.
Gotcha.
Raising cap. If I knew that before, then I'd be the one, buying it for myself, not for the team.
Right.
That's what I did today.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in short is, no, I did not during that market. I probably did a few, maybe a handful. That's it. But nothing compared to what I'm doing now. Yeah,
for sure. And I think what's interesting is that you capitalize on knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And that was like probably the biggest thing, but I would imagine like putting myself in that shoes, and I would probably just try to consume as much information as possible as well. But I feel like for someone that doesn't have experience, in the real estate investment, like it might seem almost overwhelming. Like, you're looking at spreadsheets, you were saying hundreds of properties a day, but like, how did you know what to look for? Like, what is a good deal versus a bad deal?
Yeah. So that's a skill you develop really over time and sourcing deals. It just doesn't come overnight, man. I mean, there are no brainers out there, but you're going to stop, when you have a ton of property sitting in front of you, how are you going to dissect what's a good one or bad one, right? And so, usually what really helped is we had a large team that would do a lot of diligence on these properties. So, most of the time these trustee auctions were getting postponed or canceled. So they would cancel by bulks. So if you had 100 properties going up for auction one day, they will dwindle down like to about 50 and 30 and 20, just alone by cancellations, postponements, or bankruptcy delays, whatever it is. There's a lot going on just for that auction going up. So by the time you're ready to get in your bid, there's probably maybe like 10 properties only. And after that you would really set your eyes on, 10 versus 100. So, but even then, it's just a matter of, you got to train the eye. That's what I say that term a lot when I'm talking to other folks. You really got to train your eye to look for opportunity.
Right.
You got to look at it every day to be able to spot something really. Right. Otherwise, you're just looking at addresses and, right. A bunch of numbers. Right. But you really got to train your eye. And I think it's like, just like in everything else, in any other business or any other specialty or niche, you got to really train your eye,
right?
Build your, your experience. You gotta put time into it, time and effort to be able to, spot opportunities.
For sure.
And that's, one of the edges I think I have compared to other investors that are starting
right.
Here locally.
Yeah. And I think training the eye, like for me, it just comes with experience, like you're saying, because like for me, I see opportunity, not necessarily, obviously I'm not in the real estate investing world. But I find opportunity in the tax law. Like, oh man, you're overpaying in taxes. But that, I'm training my eye to find that on a tax return, but it comes from experience. And it's like, dude, you're overpaid in taxes by 20 grand.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, it's some of it you develop, right? You train your eye, and then becomes a gut feeling. Then you kind of know, all right, you're trained, you're groomed, you know what you're doing, you know how to get in and out of things. So, and you just pick up, you spot opportunities like that, man.
Right.
Before, nowadays it's not so much spreadsheets like before. Now it's more networking. The market's changed, so you're not gonna find deals out there no more.
Right.
At least not at the volume you were before. We were before, but now it's more networking. So, but I still spot opportunities when they come. When they send me a list, send me a deal, I'll rule it out in a minute or less. Wow. I'll say no. I don't want that, or just because I have, like I said, that experience, train the eye to look for things. And someone can spend a whole day looking at a deal and still be undecided if it's a deal or not.
Right. You just got it in 1 minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. Now, one of the things you mentioned that I thought was key is that like you had a team, right? Mm-hmm. But, you were just starting out as a young kid, just left the finance industry to get into real estate. So, what I think happened is probably you started networking in that, by going to the trustee sales every day, and then you built like relationships to build that. So, I think that's a big part of it, right? Because you put yourself, or you built relationships with other people that are already doing this. So like, how did you build those relationships to make it easier for you?
Well, during that time, it was very interesting because, the relationships that I built at the trustee auction, actually they were pretty powerful, because, back then it was like kind of like the good old boy club, that only hung around there. You could only buy so many properties and, these guys were there on a daily basis. So, I got to know them. I got to know who they were and how they do business and whatnot. And so, during that time, everyone really stayed to themselves, in those relationships. Everyone was kind of like, all right, you're kind of like, everyone had their own, it's separate business.
Right.
We had lunch, stuff like that, but we didn't really network much. We were just kind of like, all right, I got this deal, you got that deal,
right.
Like kind of like at the same time we're competition, really. Right. So, but really, the relationships I built, aside from being at the auction, was as a realtor, as a broker, with all the property that I had listed during that time, I was number one listing agent in town for so long. And I didn't realize it. I didn't really keep track of, all the listings that, that I was taking. I would just, listing the properties, doing my job.
Right.
But during that time, like I said, a lot of agents left the business. So, during that time, there was a lot of pretty much the more experienced agents that kind of could get through the market were the only ones there.
Right.
A lot of them listed bank-owned property, REO properties, right?
Mm-hmm.
What separated me from them is that I was listing probably as much properties as they were for bank owns. I was listing for investors. So during that time, I had a lot of listings. So a lot of agents wanted to get my business. They wanted to join my team. They wanted to. Lenders were coming left or right. Hey, I want to represent you. I want to be your lender, number one lender. So those relationships today is probably what I leverage the most because, those guys are still doing business today.
Right.
See, we actually, we became very good friends with some of the relationships during that time. And today, we built a different brokerage around that as well. So we just leverage, add value to each other, know how to add value really.
Right.
That's key too. But yeah, I mean, those relationships have done very well for us, for myself.
Right.
I don't get as much involved in the daily realtor life anymore. I'm more on the investor side. So
right. They're
still there, and I can go back and reach out to them for anything that I need. They're more than happy to help me, So, and then the investor side, I kind of went off my own, man. After a while, actually, back in 2015, I left that investment firm to pursue another opportunity, another partnership, where I'm at now, and so. That relationship has just brought other opportunities, and so, and to this point we're there now, and I mean it's pretty awesome, man. I mean the things we're doing now that we're getting ourselves into now, it's pretty amazing, and we're just leveraging our contacts, knowing how to network better, how to add value to yourself, not tell yourself, how to add value to someone else, to your client.
Right.
Or whatever it is that you're looking for, how to add value, how to position yourself to add value to that person.
Right.
It's really how I leverage my relationships now. But anyways.
Yeah. So I think, you mentioned that, you leverage, to me, it's like you mentioned earlier, you had your broker's license, right? You didn't have to have that 2 years experience that you need now. And then you were just listing these properties, and then so you just started to attract business.
Right.
And then that kind of developed into the relationships you have now.
Yeah. It does, man. And so, to this day, like I said, we have very strong relationship with those folks, and we're very, very, very grateful for that on both sides. Right now, any lender wants to be my in-house lender, so we can leverage that. So yeah, definitely, there's a lot of ways you can leverage those relationships today.
Right.
Even more, now that I'm, my mind here is kind of going around, to this day now, I'm doing a lot more networking. Okay. So I'm getting out of my comfort zone, and I'm doing more networking, and I actually, folks that, know my name, or we know each other for being in the business, but never really hung out.
Right.
Or got to, how would I say, meet ourselves, meet outside of the realtor world.
Right.
I kind of set up a different setting now, like a real estate investment tribe is what I call it.
Nice.
And so I use that also. I use that to leverage real estate investor relationships.
Nice.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just gives me an edge to the other guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and I do it in hopes that we're going to do business sometime together in the future, so
right.
There's a lot of opportunities.
Nice. Now, did you have I'm not sure if you seem like a really, really smart guy, but did you learn this all yourself just through trial and error, or did you have a mentor that kind of taught you and guided you?
So I mean, the mentors were in the time were my partners that I joined as as part of their team. Really, that's how I learned. I never got any formal training on how to flip a house, how to buy and rent a house. I never took any kind of course. I never really read a book on how to buy, rehab, rent, all these other real estate strategies to buy and invest. Never read a book about it. I just taught pretty much by doing it for the other folks, for the other investors that was working at that time. That's how I learned the real estate world, man.
Nice. So, I mean, again, you leverage relationships through a partnership to basically gain the experience, the knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, I was grateful just being in their office, being part of the team, like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I'm part of something bigger, and that was one of the things that caught my attention. Like, wow, you know what, here's my opportunity to make a name for myself.
Right.
And so, yeah, I leveraged that as much as I could.
Nice. Now, did you gain that partnership because of your broker license, or what was it that how did you get that opportunity?
Yeah. So, how do I get the opportunity? By being there, showing up. And that's key, man, because in today's world, anything you want to do, you got to show up, man. And that was key for me. I was just hanging out. I got to know the folks. My friends knew some of the guys there. So, all right, just kind of networking each other, hung around. They're like, hey, we're growing our team. Oh, right here. I'm your guy. And so it was just like that, man. My broker license had nothing to do with it.
Wow.
It helped me because, yeah, I could open up a brokerage now,
Right.
But what I was doing at that time for them did not require a broker license. You know what I mean? So it was more the relationship, being there, capturing the opportunity, and taking advantage of the opportunity.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I could have always got my license later,
right?
If I didn't have it, So
yeah. That makes a lot of sense, because I think it's who you hang out with, right? It's going to impact your thoughts, your process, your learning habits and stuff. And so you kind of you knew that this was the opportunity to hang out with someone. Yeah.
And one thing that came to mind right now is that during the time, a lot of they were interviewing guys. I wasn't just like the only guy that they interviewed that time. I went through an interview process through the partners and whatnot, and but what really stood out is that a lot of the folks that were interviewed, and they told me this, that we chose you, Alex, because you're not concerned about how much you're going to make. Everyone wanted to know what their hourly wage was or what their commission was. That was like, if you're asking their questions, you're the wrong guy.
Right.
So I guess I was asking the right questions.
Nice.
I was, just being myself. I was just being myself. I told my story, who I was, how we grew up and whatnot. And we just connected like that. Really, it's just being yourself. And we were, we had similar, similarities in the way we were raised and whatnot. And they were like, you know what? We like you, dude. We want you to be part of our team. We want you to go. So it's like, Alex, all the other guys were just worried about what their commission was going to be.
Right.
So, that's how I got the job.
Nice. And I think that's important, because a lot of people, they it's almost like you said, you got to provide value, right? So it's like, how can I provide value to you? And it's interesting, like when you don't really think about the money is when you get the most money.
Right. I mean, at that time, they asked me, like, Alex, how much you want to make? They're like, dude, I'm happy if I make 60,000 or 75,000, and first year I made 6 digits.
Nice.
Being with them, I was like, wow, dude. I was like so grateful, just and I was just and it just happened like that, just being myself. I didn't have to impress no one or ask for a raise or anything like that. I was just performing, man. I was just doing my job, and because I'm passionate about it.
Right.
So maybe that really helped, being passionate about it and really pouring myself into them and really being excited to come to work every day.
Right.
Showing up no matter what.
Gotcha. Now, how did you find your calling? Because, a lot of people, they have to sometimes change either, like you mentioned, you were in finance, you thought about accounting, and then, now you're in real estate as a real estate investor. So how did you know this was for you?
I guess you don't know. You don't know until you try it.
Right.
You don't know really until you try it. I knew it was real estate. After, it was, I guess, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, but now, probably in the last 5 years, kind of reinvented myself, man, and just became a lot more passionate about it. And I'm like, wow, dude, this is it. I mean, actually, there was a point to where like I almost didn't want to do real estate anymore.
Really?
I was okay. So during this time, I was, the trustee auctions were kind of dying out.
Okay.
There was not much inventory, and I was like, wow, dude, what's next? What am I going to do? What am I going to, I was making 6 digits, and now it's like,
right.
I think it's not there. I get out there, started showing property and doing open houses and all that. And that wasn't really me. I wasn't used to the traditional real estate world. It was more investments, auctions. And so there was a time where I was like, man, dude, this is, I like to sell. I like real estate, but now it was like, man, I don't want to go show houses. I was so used to being behind a desk for so long, for so many years, 8 years, to where like, you know what, nah, man, I don't know. And the thing was too is, during that time, let me see here, we were, I was looking for change too. I was like, man, you know what, traditional market's coming back. Trustee auctions are dying out. And you know what? Let's try the traditional market. Let's go be an agent. Let's go be a realtor. Mm-hmm. And I jumped into that. That's really when I transitioned into my new partnership. But I left a part of me that I was passionate for. I was passionate for a real estate investment world.
Right.
And I was not happy with myself. I was like, man, I wasn't making the money I wanted to. I was kind of like going backwards. Like, shit, dude, what's going on? And, mentally, I put myself in a rut. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do real estate anymore, man. I'm burnt out of all the trustee auctions. I'm like burnt out. Like, I want to break. Mm-hmm. I want to get away for a little bit. But so anyways, I tried traditional real estate with being a realtor, and I wasn't happy, man. I was not happy with real estate.
Right.
I was like, something I was so passionate for just totally, completely turned around. I was like, man, this is not me. And I went through I had to reinvent myself, man. I had to go back to investments to really get my passion back. I was like, during that time, actually, I read a book that was called, what was it called? Something about my getting your mojo back. Okay. Something like that. It was like, if you lost your mojo, how to get back, something like that. And during that time I read it, I'm like, man, this makes a lot of sense. And so I decided that during that time that, you know what, I got to get back into the investment world. I got to go back. And surely I was like, man, you know what, this is it, dude. If I don't effing go back now, I don't know what I'm going to do next. Like, I got to go back because, like I said, I left a part of me that I was really passionate for real estate. I left it there, and I wasn't being myself. Being a realtor was not being me. You know what I mean? So I went back to the investment world, and I told my wife, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go in. I don't care. I don't give a shit if I go bankrupt or not, but I'm gonna do it. And that's what I do now.
Nice.
And I love it. I'm passionate about it. You know what I mean? So
nice.
I kind of had to go reinvent myself, get back in the game, in the investment world game, and yeah.
That's awesome. I love that story. And I think that, you mentioned the market has changed, right? So when you reinvent yourself, like you're used to, like, the trustee sales, like you said, it lasted like good 7-8 years and then it just died out. And so you had to go down the traditional route. So now with the market being different, now you're saying networking is the way to find opportunities, find deals. Yeah. Tell me about like how you've shifted now. Like, how do you find a deal now? And now that trustee sales are not what they used to be.
Yeah, so that's a good question, actually. During the trustee auction, that was the hottest topic. Either you were doing bank-owned properties, or you're doing short sales, or you're doing trustee auctions. And during that time, when the market was transitioning, there were a lot of what they call now, you may hear wholesalers, real estate wholesale, right? During that time, I was not aware of that, actually. I was not aware of that market. So I was so tuned in it was like tunnel vision into the trustee auctions that I didn't know what else was going around besides bank-owned properties, short sales, and then the market, traditional market was coming up. But I did not know about wholesaling. Wholesaling is a term where, pretty much you find property as an investor, you find an owner that wants to sell property, and you go buy it from them, tie it down, and sell the contract to another investor, right? And during that time, you would hear about all these ballroom events, summits that they would show you how to train, they show you how to buy, sell, rehab houses, right? I'm pretty sure you heard about them.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, what is that, man? I'm like, there's no money in flipping. What are you talking about? That was not anymore. I was like, how are you going to find deals? There's no other way to find deals other than the trustee auctions. And I guess during that time, I would say that even our team was not even focused on that. I think they were more focused on like, okay, let's downsize our company. It was so big. Let's start downsizing it versus like, if I was there before and I knew about, if I was still there and I knew about it during the wholesale, I was like, dude, I'm doing wholesale now. Forget you guys, or let's transition into wholesale, And that was the thing. Eventually, probably in about 2014, 2015, wholesale became the thing, And interestingly enough, that's when I got out of the real estate investment world.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's when I transitioned to the traditional real estate market as a realtor. And I was like, oh, man. And I would hear all these advertising on how to flip a house, come here, we're going to do a seminar. And I'm like, dude, I don't need to go there, man. Like, I already know that. I've been there, done that. I've flipped over 2,000 properties. Like, what are they going to teach me?
Right.
So, but like I said, and I never went to those events, but I started seeing like people flipping houses. I was like, oh shit, there's something going on here. What am I missing? And I said, I had to look into it. I'm like, okay, I need to know what is this wholesale thing. Eventually, it's, wholesale's been around for decades, but it became popular again, I guess, back when the market came back up. And so now I say, you know what? I should have started a wholesale division. Should I go back as an investor? Like, how do I go back into the investment world? So what I did is pretty much I sat down, man, and really started just adding, feeding my mind with being around investors, feeding my mind with knowledge and what's going on in the market, kind of like in the investment world. How do I get back into flipping houses, buying rentals, getting properties, off market discounted prices at discounted prices? And eventually, I positioned myself as an investor, as a buyer in the market. So what I did is I leveraged my story. I leveraged my experience that I got, in the last 7-8 years working as an investor at the trustee auction. I got all that knowledge. Pretty much say, you know what, I have to leverage this to get back into the real estate, into the REI game. I have to leverage this. This is my way into it. Like, I don't need to know how to flip a house course. I don't need none of those trainings. I can cold call homeowners. I can do all that. But what gives me an edge is my experience as a buyer in the market, as a cash buyer in the investment market.
Right.
So I started just identifying the wholesalers. I'm like, hey, I'll be your buyer. I'll be a cash buyer. I started identifying all the wholesalers in the market, Kern County. I said, you know what, I'm going to do Kern County. I need to get out there, start networking with these guys, start meeting them. So I started going back to the trustee auction, and they were still there, because to this day, there's still auctions going on, but not, you probably get one deal a month or two a month. Mm-hmm. Or not even that, actually. But these guys started hanging out there because wholesalers are looking for buyers. They want a cash buyer. And I'm like, I'm that guy. I can be that guy for every wholesaler in town. And I just leveraged the heck out of it as much as I could. And eventually, deals started coming. I started creating deal flow. That was my goal. I'm going to meet everybody. Everyone's going to get to know who I am, and I'm going to create deal flow. And pretty much that's how I got back into real estate investment world.
Nice.
I started buying property from wholesalers. Also started a small wholesale division where we were doing direct marketing to homeowners as well and buying a property. So Yeah, man, that's what we do now. Actually, we do a lot more now, but
Right.
that's how I got back into the investment world.
That's cool. So you found the trend, right? Because you see it now, like, you know, it's like we buy houses cash and
Right.
stuff. But you were so dialed in to this, you know, the trustee sale that
Yeah.
you missed that opportunity.
Yeah, I was like, man, I'm that guy. Like, I'll buy your house cash, but a lot of these advertising you see out there are actually wholesalers. They don't have the cash. They're just, you know, want your number to call you when they do find a deal. They'll sell it to you. So I'm like, I need to know. So I started calling all these I buy houses cash signs. I started calling them, and I was doing reverse marketing. So I started this, just, you know, got a database, started reaching out to them, talk to them. So every time you get a cold caller or someone calling you about, hey, we're buying a property in your neighborhood, you probably get those nowadays,
Right.
or a text or a voicemail. I call them back. I call them back. I text them back, and I'll tell them, hey, I'm the back cash, you know, not like that, but I just got to know them. Actually started having coffee meetups with them and get to know them, told them my story. Hey, this is who I am. And so leveraged that, you know, leveraged all that experience, to meet everyone, you know, and to this day, we're, you know, I like it till this day, I do that. That's why I host those REI meetups.
Right.
I don't know if you,
Yeah, I've seen them.
seen those. So the REI meetups, I was like, you know, I need to separate myself from all these other cash buyers. Like, I need to get out there and do something different. And yeah, so just like anything, right? You want to stand out, would be top of mind. Well, you got to do a little bit more, man.
Right.
So that's what I mean by networking. Doing a lot more networking today, building relationships. The REI meetups is just one opportunity to meet another guy or another investor, or even folks that are other cash buyers like myself. We actually met up there for the first time and are starting to do business together.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So that's the difference in today's market than before.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm sure there was other relationships going on too, but it was a lot easier just to go walk up to the trustee auction and buy a deal than it is today.
Right.
Yeah, so today's more like networking and knowing who's who.
Right.
You know, and I think it's like that everywhere.
Right.
You know, all the time, really.
Nice.
But like, I was so tuned into the trustee auction, I didn't know any better.
Right.
That was the thing, and like I was what was happening. You know. So,
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, I mean, you leverage your story, but you actually use reverse marketing, which is awesome. You were able to kind of like, most people, like for me, I get those text messages and I'm like, I'm not in the business. So, you know, you ignore them. But you're like, hey, this is me. This is an opportunity. You know, I'm going to call that number back and leverage my experience, my story to get some deals.
Right. Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and you know, I got to know a lot of folks like that too, and even the competition, I got to build a better relationship with them, and we're, like I said, we're doing deals together. So, you know,
Nice.
it's a win-win for everyone.
Right.
You know.
For sure. Now, one of the things you said earlier was like, if you didn't know the skills of raising capital, but now if you had known those skills, you would have bought a lot of those properties back in 06, 07, or 08. So now I'm assuming you have those skills as well. And so now you're able to buy houses pretty much unlimited.
Yeah. Yeah. So raising capital, I had, during the time I was, I said reinventing myself. One of the ways was, okay. So with the experience that I have, I'm like, okay, I have some money, but I know what I'm capable of doing. And I'm getting a lot more cash than what I have or my friends have or my family has. So I said, okay, I know exactly what I need to do. I need to go raise capital. Then I can capture all these opportunities, all these deal flows that I'm getting, right? All these deals they're texting me, calling like, hey, I got a deal, okay. It's time. I told myself, I got to get out there in the investment world and start raising capital. So I actually took training for that because, it's now I was more like a banker, like, okay, I got to get my banker hat on and which I love because that's actually what I'm passionate about. In the whole real estate world, I'm a banker.
Right.
Okay. I'm a banker. I'm not a flipper. I'm not, so it was interesting. Let me see if I can put this, articulate what I'm trying to say here. in the as an investor and trying to raise capital, I had to pretty much not be a realtor.
Right.
I don't know if I see. Actually, I have a post on my Instagram where it says I'm not a realtor. And what I had to do is really actually get in a different mindset. I had to raise capital now, and so I had to talk the talk. I had to get out there, put myself out there, and know how these capital raisers raise capital. How do they attract capital? So I became, it was a whole mindset shift, man. Huge mindset shift. Like literally, I became a money magnet. Like it's like the way you put things is like the way you talk to yourself, what you feed your mind. All that was huge during that time because I'm like, damn, like this is not even real estate anymore. This is banking.
Right.
Like I'm getting out there in front of folks with capital that don't know what to do with it. They're waiting for you to. They're just waiting to write you a check. Right. And I didn't think that. I didn't think like that at first. I was like, wow. I heard that from someone somewhere. I don't know what it was. I started going to seminars and capital raising seminars, investor seminars. I'm like, wow, this is a whole different world. This is like the investment side, like Smith Barney stuff. I'm like, this is what I love to do. So I'm very passionate about that side of the investment world. I love real estate. And I mean, that's the vehicle, but capital raising and being in just like, I'm very intrigued by the banking world, Wall Street. To this day, my buddy, Ismail.
Yeah.
Okay. So, he's IFA 9 independent financial advisor. So that was like, that's kind of like me, but in the real estate side.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So, so I had to go back and kind of put on my financial advisor hat,
right, and
go raise capital.
Nice.
So that was very fun. Actually, I loved it because I was like, this is so easy. Once you got your mindset right, I was like, this is fun, man. I'm just hanging out and they're writing me checks. Right. I'm like, dude, it would just, I just started tracking capital. Yeah. And I was like, okay, now what can I do with it? Oh, real estate. Okay. I know real estate. So right away, I just connected dots, it came natural, man. And right. To this day, I still do a lot of, I go to a lot of networking events for raising capital and creating funds and, stuff like that. That's kind of I guess you can say my hobby, I'm passionate for. So right. I buy books about it. I read on them. I have podcasts or I listen to podcasts, read books. So I'm very intrigued by that niche.
Nice. Yeah. So question, because, when you were first starting out Trustee World and then, you were kind of like, I don't need, or even like when the wholesaling, you didn't really see education. You're like, I don't really need it. I just leverage your relationships. But now with raising capital, you're like, you actually got training. So why did you decide to educate yourself on this topic? Yeah.
So well, coming from, like I said, I was raised, I didn't come from money. Money was more like, how would I put this in words? We didn't have the abundance mentality, and growing up, we were like, oh man, you got to work for your money. Which is nothing wrong, right? It's very ethical. Yeah. I mean, we did everything right, but we never saw money like as an abundance. Like, oh, there's really, if you start getting into that world, there's so much money out there just waiting for them to write you a check. Right. So once I caught that, it was just a whole mindset shift. It was just like, sorry, man, I kind of lost it.
Yeah. So I think, you're saying mindset, right?
Oh, the mindset. Yeah. So the whole mindset, I had to shift my mind, like I said, into like, I had to really, what's the word here? I'm trying to put my thoughts together. I had to train my mind and myself as an authority in the market, so that I can attract capital. Right. Okay. And I use that through my networking, the conversations I was having. You don't go out there and say, hey, you have capital, let's do something. It was more like I was being introduced as an investor, and I how do you pitch? How do you say something? I don't want to say wrong. I want to come across as a professional.
Right.
Not like, hey, dude, let's go partner up on something. Not like that. It was more like, what do you do? Oh, I do real estate. Oh, really? Okay. Well, what's real estate? Because you say real estate, well, makes you wonder, like, well, like what?
What in real estate?
What in real estate? Okay, so I was like, well, you know what? I do opportunistic real estate. Oh, that's intriguing. What is that? Tell me more about it. Oh, okay. Well, and that was my hook. That was one of them. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. And then boom, it was just an opportunity. It was like all ears. They just opened up their ears to like, oh yeah, tell me more about it. I want some of that.
Right.
And that's pretty much when my pitch came out. Hey, this is what it is. And then after that, I just used my experience as leverage. It's like, hey, this is what I do, man.
Nice.
Boom. And then they would just know, once you get into that world, folks are actually looking to meet folks like myself to lend money to. So once I caught that, I was like, oh shit, this is cha-ching,
right.
This is a way to start raising capital. So once you're out there and put yourself out there now, and you have the abundance mentality, you're like, wow, dude, now it's like people want to meet me to write me a check to go turn it for them.
Yeah.
So, that was like, the best part of the whole experience on raising capital.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause after that, it became so easy.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's huge. Cause I think, I think for like, especially like the Hispanic community, we kind of grow up with these kind of scarcity mindsets, that we're not going to have the capital to, or we just don't know that there's so much opportunity out there.
Right.
Until we have like that mindset shift, it's like, wow.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, it's like, you're growing your business now, right? You're growing. So you're like, dang, there's a lot of business out there, like,
yeah,
heck yeah, this is good. But when you first start, you're kind of like, you know what? Start doubting yourself. It's like, it's natural, right? But once you have that breakthrough, man, those impact moments, and you know how to take advantage of it, leverage it, man, it's huge. So you got to start with the mindset first, though. Otherwise, a lot of opportunities sitting right in front of you, and you wouldn't know any better. You don't know how to handle it. You don't know what to say.
Right.
So you have to get prepared for those moments.
Right.
And that's when I told myself, that's when I started hanging out at investor seminars. Started hanging out with them. So, hey, who are these folks? I want to identify them. I want to know where they hang out, what they talk, how they talk. So it was pretty fun, man. So yeah, but going back, the scarcity mentality. If you do that, man, you're good luck.
Yeah.
you really have to really change your mindset. Even today, sometimes it's kind of challenging to see like the opportunities that are coming up, and you're like, damn, dude, I got to go raise more capital.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I got time to put on my investor hat back on and get out there and start really going for the bigger money,
Right.
And so it's fun, man. I enjoy it, man. I love that, man. To this day, I'll have conversations even with my buddies, and they're investors themselves. They're professionals. They have a career, but they'll also buy, flip, or buy and rent. And they're like, Alex, man, he's like, man, if I had so much money, I'd just quit my job and just, do what you're doing. Cause they're already doing it part time. But if I had so much money and as much capital as you do, I'd just quit my job and take off. I'm like, dude, no. And he was like, oh yeah. And then the other thing was too, it's an interesting conversation. Like, man, you know what? I even stopped looking for deals because I don't have the capital. And I'm like, he's like, dude, if I had the capital, then I can go spend more time looking for deals. I said, no, you're doing it all wrong, dude.
Right.
That's not the way you start. And this, if you're hearing this right now, guys, this is key. I'm dropping a bomb right now. Okay. Money follows opportunity. Okay. With no opportunity, good luck finding money. You got to have opportunity first. Then it'll find you. You'll attract it. It'll come to you. So I told him, dude, no, you're thinking wrong. Shift it. You have to shift that. So this is moment of impact right now. Start talking different. Don't say, well, if I have money, then I'd go find deals. No, find the deal, the money will come.
For sure.
To this day, I'll find deals where I don't have the capital for, and before you know it, it's there.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's huge, man. So that's a big tip right there, guys. Whoever's listening to this, that's probably the biggest takeaway from this.
That's a bomb right there. That's a bomb because, you know, it's like, dude, just focus on the opportunity. Don't even worry about the money. The money will follow.
Yeah. Abundance mentality.
Yeah.
Right? It'll come to you. And if you don't have it, well, you're doing something wrong. It'll come to you. Start hanging out with folks that are doing it. You find a deal, go talk to them.
Yep.
They'll be more than happy to write your check. You got to build that relationship, right?
Right.
You got to know who you are. Start showing up to the REI meetups that I'm hosting. Start showing up to any other REI meetup, right? Start connecting with these guys at another level. Don't, you know, if you don't come from money or you don't know anyone that has money, start showing up. Show up. Just like the way I did 2007 at the Trustee auction. I just showed up, bro.
Yep. That's awesome.
See, it's that easy.
For sure, brother. I think that's, you know, whoever's listening, that's a key, you know, a key thing to figure out, because it's like, dude, you don't even have to worry about it. You know, as long as you find opportunities, money will follow, man.
It will, man. Trust me. You have to take that leap. You have to do it.
That's awesome. So, Alex, what are you excited about going forward? Like, what do you got in store, you know, in the next couple of years?
Oh man, there's a lot going on right now. You know, 100% of my business right now is buy and flip and buy and rent. Okay. I'm doing more buy and flip right now. I have quite a bit of projects. Last year, at the end of the year, I was at 47 projects.
Wow.
25 of those carried over into this year. And right now, I'm already like at 29, 30. So
nice.
My goal is to buy one property a week right now.
Nice.
Okay. So, that's to flip or rent. Actually, I need trying to rebuild my rental portfolio now. So I'm starting to hold.
Okay.
More of the opportunities that I buy. Majority of those in the last 2-3 years, I probably flipped all of them actually.
Wow.
Until like recently, I said, you know what, I got to start holding some of these.
Yeah.
So moving forward, I'm looking to, you know, buy and rent more of those. Let's say for every 5 that I buy, I want to keep as a rental.
Nice.
So, but you know, sometimes it doesn't come like that, right? Sometimes it's dry, sometimes it's not, and maybe you'll get all 5 at once, you know. So, but anyways, that's, you know, so moving forward, you know, I'm set up more as a real estate investment firm. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm looking about, okay, how am I going to separate myself? How am I going to grow? What's next? What's the vision, right? There's a lot of opportunity right now that is coming across my desk, in the commercial world, development world as well. You know, as a real estate investment firm, we focus on different asset types. You know, you focus commercial, and then under commercial, there's office, there's, you know, there's retail, there's industrial, there's land, there's restaurants. There's so much in the real estate commercial world, right?
Right.
And then residential world, right, is you buy, rent, you buy, fix and flip, or you do wholesale. And so now it's like, okay, I got to cover all bases. Now I'm becoming more diverse, not just buy, fix and flip, buy, fix and hold, but now we're developing. I'm developing now the whole commercial section right now. I'm doing multifam.
Nice.
Multifam, single fam homes, ADUs, and duplexes as well. We also have, you know, opportunities to do industrial, gas stations, restaurants, that kind of stuff. So, you know, I'm diversifying, you know, not just only residential. You know, what was the other thing? So anyways, sorry, I like kind of lost track, but yeah, it's more diversifying into bigger assets. You know, there's a lot more opportunities. I mean, it's amazing. It's actually, I'm pretty excited where things are going right now. Really
nice.
You know, I can't say too much right now, but we have quite a bit of things going on right now. Quite a bit. I mean, just to give you an idea, we have right now, in development world, we have 5 projects we're planning from conception to all the way to plan check. Right now, we have a total of 44 units that are being planned out right now. 17 we're going to be building probably this year.
Nice.
Or we're going to crack the nut, that's what I call it. And it'll be actually my first project. So I'm excited for that. That's why I'm excited, because I'm getting into the development, construction. And that'll be a multifamily project. And then we have other duplexes around town, and then single fam with ADUs. So, I'm trying to get into that world, so nice. I'm already there. But now it's like, okay, now which project do you want to build first? Which one do you want to get, hands on first, that kind of stuff. And as I'm there, again, guys, I'm just showing up, man. More opportunity comes up. I'm like, that's why I said I got to go get more capital.
Right.
You start seeing, like I said, I don't want to see too much, but there's a lot going on.
Nice.
You'll hear more about it maybe later this year, but it's pretty exciting, man. I'm very excited about it. Maybe, I'll create my real estate fund.
Nice.
That's another thing that I'm looking forward to. So, I'm going to be out there raising capital again, for these opportunities.
Yep.
So we got to get back to learning again, man. So you never stop learning, man.
Yeah.
And that's what's exciting. It feels like I'm starting real estate again in a way.
Right.
Kind of like these opportunities coming up. I'm like, oh shit, this is cool. I got my first deal. I got my first development deal coming. I gotta. I'm like scrambling. Like, okay, what's next? Like I'm there. Like, what can I do for you? Like that kind of stuff. I'm learning from other mentors.
Yep.
That have been doing this all their life. So it's pretty exciting to be next side alongside with them and getting into other opportunities.
That's awesome, man. Super excited for your projects and what you got going on. I think you've blown up as a real estate investor, and I think if anyone's associated with you, they're just lucky to be by your side, like you said. And I have your Instagram handle here, which is Alex Mora, REI for real estate investment. So if you want to meet up with Alex, hit him up on IG. Alex, any final words you want to say before we head off?
One thing right now, I use my social media to inspire folks. Okay, that's another mindset thing. I had to challenge myself to push social media, and I had you got to hack the mind sometimes to be able to do things that you're uncomfortable doing. And so for social media, what I do is I inspire folks. That's my thing. I'm not trying to show off out there or whatever. My goal is to inspire. When I'm out there, I'm inspiring you. And at the end of the day, I end up inspiring myself.
Yeah.
Because I'll get the reminders, like, hey, a year ago you were doing that, those reminders. And I'm like, oh, damn, this is more like for myself.
Yeah.
It's like coming around 2 years later, you're like, oh, shit, this is cool. What I was saying 2 years ago. And it keeps me going, man. So the guys are out there, man, just show up, man. Part of my social media, too, is 2 years ago, actually, I'm going to repost this. Last week, I was going to post a little run up of my last 2 years in business as a real estate investor. Because 2 years ago, I told myself, it was 2020, it was COVID and all and going on. And I told myself, you know what? I'm going to, for the next 10 years, I'm going to see what happens. And I'm going to show the world. I'm gonna put it or show it on social media. I'm gonna track my journey. That's what it is. I'm tracking my journey, and I want others to benefit from them. If I can help you come, if I can, whatever it is, inspire you. Actually, I put in there, be inspired, because that's what I want to do for others. I get inspired when I go to these conferences talking about raising capital. Shit, I just go to go fly on the wall.
Yep.
Hear them talk. I want to see what they're doing. That inspires me to do more. So if you're listening right now, man, get out there, go to meetups, hang out with folks that are doing what you want to do, man, and just enjoy the journey, man, because you'll be surprised where you'll be at in 10 years, in 2 years, in a year. But you got to start now, man.
100%.
Show up today.
100%. That's awesome, Alex. Thank you for being on the show, man. It's been a pleasure, and you dropped a bunch of nuggets, dropped a bomb. So thank you for being on the show again.